are back! They have won the Stanley Cup!
I think it's tough enough to win one. We've done two, so you might as well go for three, right?
Our time, baby, back to back. That's how we do it.
What do you think of this team?
Unbelievable. Nobody can beat us. Back to back years.
It's so much fun to be a part of. The crowd can have an effect on teams. The emotions get turned up.
And then last year they gave Vezina to somebody else. Number one bullshit. Oh, number one bullshit.
Here it is for you guys. Enjoy.
Welcome to We the Thunder. We are back here at District Tavern. A little bit better of a mood today. It's Saturday. The Lightning lost last night, but we're back here for the official Downtown Crawlers Paint the Town Blue bar crawl. So we started to see some people already coming in here. We're trying to get set up, and we're going to jump right to it because for the first time ever, we have a ex-player on the show, and he is a two-time Stanley Cup champ, one of our all-time favorite Bulls. We're going to have to ask him if he remembers meeting us. No chance. No chance. We have a picture of us with Dinger. We'll have to post later. But it is Chris Dingman. You know him as Dinger, back from 2004, a Stanley Cup champion here, and also with the Colorado Avalanche. Let's bring him on. There he is. What's going on?
Oh, it's sour. What's going on? My body's really sore. I'm feeling my age. A little bit tired. That's about it.
Shooter just turned 40. I think he's understanding everything you're talking about right now. We're in the 40 club now, so.
Yeah. Oh, just turned 40. Turned 40. So 40 is, you're still okay at 40, but it's like 41, 42, and then it just like, everything just like, I can't play hockey the same. I can't. I mean, if I can, but if I try too hard, then I can barely move for like 2-3 days after. So,
well,
40's like.
I know you had a long NHL career. I'm in like my 10th year of beer league, so I feel like maybe I'm going to start to feel some of those effects soon as well.
Yeah, that's usually from the after. That's usually from the post game festivities in beer league.
You just recently posted that you did the alumni skate with the LA Kings, and you posted after that you were a little tired there. So, are you starting for these alumni skates?
Yeah, it's like, so what the Oilers do is like every third week or something, or once a month, they have an alumni skate for all the alumni that's in town, and they do it day of the game down at Rogers Arena. So I've only been to like one or two this year just because of scheduling. So yeah, I brought my 15-year-old son with me. So he had a PD day or something. He was off school, so it was actually worked out good, but then it was like not fun trying to chase him around. So yeah, I was definitely really tired and really sore after that.
Right on. Well, are you still watching hockey? I think you are, because I follow you on Twitter, so I see a little bit of tidbits about hockey. Are you still watching a lot of hockey? Are you burnt out on it? And also, if you are, because I think you are, what do you think about the Bolts season so far? And really, the last 2 years of success that they've had? Have you been kind of watching from afar? Because I know you're not in the area still, but what have you thought about kind of the budding dynasty? No, we're not there yet, but I know you've been watching from afar.
Well, I think it's great. I think, I've been I do watch hockey. It's now more so I have more time than my kid's season's over, so we're not traveling. So I do have more time to watch. So we actually sit down and watch games. And so I've been watching 2 or 3 games a night, depending on. So, yeah, we do get to watch hockey now, which is good. The Bolts are fun to watch. They're a great team. Obviously, last game was disappointing last night. So, but it's funny, my kids have other teams they like a lot. So my younger boy likes Boston a lot. My older boy likes Detroit. But they both like Tampa. So when they're playing the Leafs, they're like, come on, get him, kill him, whatever. So when the game was getting a little rough, I think it was game 1, they're like, fine, get him. And then my younger son's like, get him, run him over, give it to him. And my older guy's like, why are they putting Matthews on the power play? It's like 5-0. He's going to get killed or something. So I think it was like game 1 or whatever. So, yeah, I still watch a lot of hockey as much as I can, schedule permitting. But, Bolts are a good team. They're a fun team. And I liked – I think it was like game 1 they lost, and someone said something about, you're in trouble or whatever, and I don't know who it was, but they're like, yeah, we didn't show up, no big deal, we'll be fine. And that's just their attitude. So, I like the swagger, I like the way they play. I think they'll be fine. I look at that, last game, it didn't go their way, but they had a lot of really good opportunities, and they gave up some really bad chances against that they probably normally wouldn't. So I think they're fine. I think they'll be good. But there's been a lot of good hockey so far in these playoffs.
Is there one series that you've been kind of keeping your eye on more than another?
No, I like watching all of them. Obviously, it's more difficult in Tampa, just because of being in Tampa being an American team that they in Canada they focus on the Canadian teams and beating Edmonton. So I like following Tampa, seeing what they're doing. Obviously, because there's still some guys I know. I'm not that old yet, but so them, Edmonton, and Denver are the team I played for. So those are primarily the teams I kind of keep tabs on. But Calgary's been fun to watch. Calgary and Dallas, they've been good games too. So I'm kind of hoping for an Edmonton-Calgary matchup if possible, and then Tampa. I just want them to pound Toronto. I just want them to annihilate. I know, obviously, but I just want them to annihilate Toronto because there's something about Toronto and the team and the arrogance and complaining about the officiating and the refs. It's like how many more power plays do you want? Just let them play. So
they can't just take an L up there for anything. It's always a ref or something else. It's never the team didn't just show up or didn't perform. It's always something not it's not the team's fault unless it's like Tavares. They like to bury that.
Then it's his fault because he makes too much money. Yeah. Then it's his fault. Yeah.
Right.
Now, do you kind of feel like when you're watching the Lightning, they're missing a Chris Dingman type player to just smash Marner into the boards or Matthews? Because I feel like we hit some guys, but I feel like we're missing 2 guys that we should be hitting more often than other guys, and I feel like there's a missing piece to this puzzle, and that's a Chris Dingman to just kind of rough some people up.
Well, of course. No, they're not missing me at all. They have a great team. Pat Maroon, what he does, Corey Perry. Perry's the guy that's just miserable. He's probably the happiest guy off the ice, but on the ice, he's a miserable prick. And he's a guy that probably wakes up on the wrong side of the bed every day. So I think, that line I think is pretty effective in what they do. And so I think they have that. They have those elements. Bogosian's a physical guy. I think, obviously losing that third line, they were so good for the last couple of years. So, it's hard to replace the guys they lost, but, good teams have to do that. So, I think they have that. I think Maroon, he's been in Simmons' kitchen and, it's, again, Perry, every whistle, he's in someone's face doing something. So, they have that. They have, I think you look at, they wouldn't have won if Julian Breezebaugh wouldn't have addressed what they were missing. And that was physicality after that first year when they lost to Columbus. So I think, he did a good job in addressing. They needed bigger players. They needed more physical players. They didn't need, not as much skill, but you have all the skill in the world, but you need different kinds of players. So I think they did a good job at it. I think they'll be okay. They're fine.
He'll be all right. I mean, you're right. We do got some guys. Maroon's more of a chirper. That I feel like than a fighter. I feel like Dinger's gonna chirp and then he's gonna pound someone afterwards. Actually, that's a good segue to something that I saw online earlier this week about you, and I wanted you to confirm if it's true. In your last NHL game, did you beat the shit out of Chris Neal, or something like that?
Yeah, I wasn't. I wouldn't say beat the crap out of, beat shit out, but. Yeah, we were playing them, and he was being an idiot. And Torts said, "What did he say?" He said something like, "Someone's got to fight him," and they put me out there against Chris Neal. And on the face-off, I just lined up against him and said, "We're going." He's like, "What?" I said, "As soon as the puck drops, we're going. You're being an idiot." And, I said, I dropped my gloves. He didn't, and kind of turtled. And so I wouldn't say I beat the crap out of him, but I tried as hard as I could to try and hit him in the face. So, yeah, that was my last NHL game in the playoffs.
Okay, that's one way to go out. But yeah, I read that. I was like, is that true? I don't have a horrible memory, but that's a good way to go out because I remember Neil, and yeah, we hated that guy. Oh yeah, he was always that was his job, just to get under everyone's skin, and he deserved a good beating every once in a while. So thank you for that.
I tried. Thank you. You're welcome.
Now, Dinger, you're a legend here in Tampa. I mean, everybody loves you. Everybody's followed you throughout your career here, your career as a broadcaster, even when you moved back up north, everybody, do your kids know, do they know they have a celebrity and Dinger as a father? And then even your wife now being an author that she is, do they know that you guys are such a big family in these communities?
I think a little bit, but I tell my wife how much of a celebrity I am all the time, and I tell my kids how good I used to be, and they're like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Let it go. But
show them the rings.
No, kidding aside, I forget what we were doing. It was like last weekend or the weekend before, and we were watching YouTube. My kids watch YouTube, so they watch hockey highlights or different videos, and they like Jeffy, that show sometimes. So, and I was like, sometimes you Google your name, and it was funny. A broadcast of Inside the Lightning came up. Chris Dingman, Inside the Lightning, or Dinger or whatever. So we sat down and watched with my younger son, and they were showing pictures, and I was like, oh my God. There was a picture of me playing basketball in grade 9, and I'm like twice the size. I'm got the ball up like this, and I'm trying to shoot, or I'm in the midst of shooting, and I'm like twice the size of this other kid. So it was just kind of funny to take a trip down memory lane and just going over old highlights and stuff. But, I was talking to him last night, actually, and I was like, do you remember Tampa? Because it's been like 4 years now. You remember going to the games? Because the people that worked in the building were unbelievable, like the security people and just everybody, like bartenders, like you name it. We would go into one of the lounges or the bars, or you can't take kids into a bar, but you know what I mean? Whatever that lounge is down below, so we walk through before we go up to our seats.
It's now the Ashley VIP, but it was the Lexus.
It's a VIP, Lexus lounge, whatever, yeah. So there's always like someone that was so nice, and they always gave me Shirley Temple. Like, guys, you want a Shirley Temple? And then it was like, do you want ice cream? You want whatever? And so they remember a little bit. I don't think they care that I played anymore because they're on the verge of being way better than me, just because I can still keep up because I'm bigger and stronger and smarter. But I'm definitely not as good in shape, and I can't skate as well, and my hands are nowhere near as good. So it's funny. I tried to ask him, like, do you remember this? Do you remember that? And I asked my older son because he met Kucherov one time. And Kuch was so nice, like, took a picture with him. He's like, yeah, I kind of remember. So, I don't think they really care that I was a celebrity or if I played. And my wife's way more famous and smarter and prettier and all those things. So, usually when I say something, I did this. Yeah. Well, I don't know if she's listening. She's upstairs. Probably not. But, they know a little bit. But, they're doing their own thing and everything. I've chirped so much in my life. So even when I played, I chirped a lot.
Right.
And since I haven't played, I still chirp a lot. But, in the regular job, you can't chirp. So it's like I chirp my kids. So when we're playing basketball or whatever. So now every chirp I've used or every time I chirp them, it's now coming back on me. So, yeah, you're brutal. You suck. You should retire. You're this, you're that, whatever. So my wife always says, well, you say that to them, you chirp them like nice muffin or, way to dump in the corner or whatever. So they're good kids. So I can't really say anything too bad about them. But I do try to remind them once in a while that, I did play and I was a good player at one point.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, we only scored like 15 goals. I'm like, yeah, but I had 8 in one season. I had 8. So, but yeah, it's constant ribbing and chirping in our household.
That's great, man. I know I miss you a lot on the broadcast. I love everybody they have. They've always done a good job in staffing that and the guys they bring in there. But I really love doing you on Inside the Lightning because not only were you like my favorite player when you were here, you have a certain outlook and perspective from the way you play the game and sort of the way you watch the game. And that's what I always liked about your perspective when you're on broadcast. So,
yeah, thanks. I appreciate that.
Now, you played with a lot of superstars that are basically retiring or getting to the edge of their career. Someone like a Chara, Ovi, you got to think it got 1 or 2 more seasons than him. What is it like playing with these guys that are playing in their 40s and just now getting to the retirement age of someone like a Chara?
Makes me feel old. No, I'm kidding. Kind of, but I don't know. It's like you got to applaud guys that can play that long and just play in their 40s. Like Chara's a guy. When he started out, he came over from Europe and he went to the Western League and he sent a video out of him like wrestling or fighting. Basically, I'll do anything to play. I'll fight. I'll do whatever. He was in such good shape every year at camp. Like here's a guy who's like 6'9" or something. I think he's 6'9", and he would do 32 wide grip pull-ups every year at camp. 32.
That's
and
insane.
His sleeve length. Yeah, and his sleeves are probably, or his arms. Sorry, his arms are probably like 42 inches. Like that's ridiculous. Like full pull-ups. So, a guy like that or anybody that can play and have longevity, I have an appreciation for. Like even Ovi, like Ovechkin, like him winning, or not him, but he and his team winning was you look at what Tampa's done the last couple of years, where Stamkos came back and played his shift, and like just because he wanted to win so bad. And I remember when the Washington won, it was like Ovi didn't care about scoring anymore. Ovi wanted to win, so he's blocking shots, he's playing defense. He's dumping it in. Like every other guy on the team's like, shit, man, if Ovi's doing it, we better do it. So, I just applaud those guys that, have the longevity and played that long. And actually, a couple of years ago, there's a long-time assistant coach in Edmonton who comes back in the summer. His name's Perry Pern, and so he has this camp, Perry Pern 3 versus 3. And it's like a conditioning camp before guys go to actual camps. And so I helped him coach a couple of years ago, like before COVID and stuff. And it was funny because there was like 3 guys that I had skated with. They were still skating. So like Chimera, Boychuk, and Bouwmeester. And like none of them are playing anymore, but I was like, they were still actually skating. So I was thinking to myself, well, shit, I'm not that old. Like they were younger than me, but I was like, man, there's still guys doing this that I actually played against. So I just have the respect for guys that can do it. And like people don't realize, like, when people are like, this guy sucks or this guy sucks or, he's brutal or he's whatever. I think to make it to the NHL is really difficult. To stay there is even harder. And to be elite is ridiculous. So you got to think with, like, they do video all the time. Like NHL teams, they do video on everything, like breakouts on, zone entries, power play, penalty kill, all that stuff. So for a guy like Ovechkin, for example, to be able to continue to score year after year when there's so much video and they're like, he's going to be here on the power play, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. Just all the respect in the world for those guys.
And give yourself some credit because you had a long NHL career. You were around for a while, had some success, touched the cup twice. Let me ask you. I got two I think good questions for you.
Sure.
And you'll like this one. Now, the second one's a little controversial, but we'll start with the easy one for you. If Chris Dingman was made NHL commissioner, how does the game change? I know that it's a different game from back when you played, but if they put you in charge, Commissioner Dinger, what do you do? Do you put in any rules? Do you do anything? What's going to happen?
Oh man, I think every whistle, I would give it a 1,000, 2 1,000, and then on the 3 1,000 count, I would allow the linesman to get in. So I'd give it like 2 seconds, because what I think the problem now is that like everybody's fake tough. So there's so much of, F you, you're brutal, whatever. And then guys know they don't have to fight, right? So you can kind of run around and do whatever you want. And, the flip side of that is there's other guys that, they thrive on that. But I think, especially guys going to the net and bumping the goalie and hitting the goalie, like I think that would do a lot. So one of the rules for sure, I'd give guys 2-3 seconds. And so if you're going to be a dick out there, like your Marchand or pick your guy you don't like that's going to slash a guy or spear the goalie, give it like, a good 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. So he's going to have to eat like 3 or 4 punches in the face and then see what happens after that. So the other thing I changed too is that what I don't like is just watching games is if you notice guys, defensemen, forwards, and they starting to do this at the younger levels too, which is really bothers me and is dangerous, is that guys turn their back now. So it used to be like if you're forward checking a D-man or whoever, they would get their shoulder against the boards and prepare for the hit. Now guys go like this and they turn their back because guys can't get hit. So, or you're not supposed to hit guys from behind. And then there was like a couple instances last night in the games where guys just got buried, and it's like, what are you supposed to do? Because, hitting's a part of hockey and it's a part of the game. But, when you're trying to like run and go and hit a guy and then all of a sudden he turns his back, then you got to stop or change. So I think there's a couple of things right there. Top of my head, I don't know if there's anything else. I think the game's pretty good. I think it's entertaining. I think, I just think you don't want to lose the physicality of it. Like I think the days of like just having a guy who just sits on the bench and fights, obviously that's way gone. But, you look at teams now and you look like a Jamie Benn. And you look at like Milan Lucic, Tom Wilson. I mean, everyone hated Tom Wilson when he like against the Rangers last year. Remember he went in and there was like that scuffle and like guy, who was it, the skill Panarin or somebody came in and jumped on his back. And like he basically threw him down, slammed him, and then punched him once or twice, kept his gloves on. And I was like, like everyone wanted him suspended. I'm like, for what? You're taught at a young age that you got to protect yourself. Like I tell my kids, when you move the puck, prepare to get hit. If you don't get hit, because my kids have been hit a couple times, not expecting them. Like you got to expect to get hit all the time. So I think, you don't want to lose the physicality of it. But like if you have a guy like that, like Tom Wilson or Lucic, like those are just two guys that really enjoy it because those guys hit and they're effective. And Lucic is on the tail end of his career, but he's still like, he's effective out there because guys are scared because he'll run you. He won't hit you. He'll try to put you 5 rows deep into the boards. And, in a 7-game series and you're a D-man, I don't want to play against him.
Yeah.
And if those, guys like that, they can score a little bit too. So I think, just allowing the physical part of the play and not, over officiating and just let the game police itself a little bit. Because I think, like the cross-checking thing in the stick work now is that you look at a guy like Tkachuk, every whistle, he's like whacking a guy. And then the Oilers picked up Evander Kane. And I remember the game they were playing, and Tkachuk whacks him on the opening faceoff, and Kane takes his stick and just chops him, two-hands him. And Tkachuk whacked him again, and he chopped him again, and the look on Tkachuk's face was like, oh shit, this isn't good. Like, this isn't going to go well, because Kane's kind of an older generation guy that is tough and can fight, so I think...
Couldn't happen for a nicer guy either.
Yeah,
one of those Tkachuk boys I like, the other one I don't like so much.
Yeah, Brady's good. The one in Ottawa, yeah. Brady, I like.
Yeah.
Matthew, I think, is the one in Calgary. He just drives me nuts because it's.
Me too.
You're always chirping. You're always, and then you're jumping guys or whatever because you don't have to fight, and that's great. But so I think just letting things go a little bit because I think in the playoffs it was great last year and the year before. Like people were complaining, they didn't like the playoffs. I'm like, it was I don't watch full games during the season because I think they're boring half the time. Because the physicality's not there, and obviously you can't play, that way for a full season. But like the playoffs have been great the last couple of years because there is fighting, there is animosity, there's hitting, there's scrums. It's like, and then to me that's fun to watch, the passion when you see skilled guys get involved. So, if I was commissioner, I kind of rambled on in my answer, but I would allow more physical play. I would allow more time because the cross-checking, they were talking about cross-checking and in the playoffs last year. how it's getting too bad. It's like, because that's what happens. Like, I played in Europe, and when you can't fight, what are you going to do when you're mad? If you can't fight, you're going to either try and run a guy over, or you're going to two-hand him, or you're going to cross-check him, you're going to slash him. So, yeah, so that's, I think, why last year you saw it was like cross-check, two guys. Whereas years ago, you whack a guy once, and then you drop your gloves, and, maybe eat a few or whatever, and get the fight out of the way and get rid of some of that animosity. So I like to keep the physicality, and it's I would allow more of it just because it's entertaining. Like, you watch fans after that whistle, and like guys get in there. And so if you watch obviously you guys are watching Tampa, so the Tampa Toronto game, when Wayne Simmons ran, who was it? Was it Rutu or who did he hit? Who's the guy he hit on Tampa? Yeah, Ruda. Yeah, so he runs Ruda. Whether you thought it was a dirty hit or not, it wasn't. He just hit him, right? But it was like 4 or 5-0 at that point, and he runs him. And I like how you guys are getting beers. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, man.
I wish I'm at home. I wish I could order one right now. But
you should be down here. We're having a playoff bar crawl. There's no game tonight, but all the Lightning fans are starting to get here now. Actually, a lot of our viewers and listeners, they're heading down here right now, getting their wristbands and stuff. So it's going to be a fun afternoon and evening down here. Yeah. What about? I wanted to ask you about like overtime rules. So you didn't get to really play 3-on-3. What do you think about like the 3-on-3, and also would you change it up? Because I know a lot of people are talking about people don't like the shootouts deciding the end of games. How would you feel about, as a player, expanding that 3-on-3? And do you like the 3-on-3? Do you like the shootout? I think so I got the experience of shootouts because it came right after the lockout. We won in 2004, right? So they changed the rules, and it was like the first 10 games of the season. I knew I wasn't going to barely play because it was going to be like 15, 20 penalties a game because they're trying to enforce the new rules. And, I think it was fun at first. So the shootout guys thought it was fun. It was great. It was a shootout, and then I remember I went once in my career in the shootout, and it was like I was like the 12th guy or something. And I still tell this story because I think it's hilarious. So Torts is Torts is putting his guys out for the shootout, and after like all the big boys like Marty, Vinny, Richie, like whatever, right? So they don't score. And Craig Ramsey's like, put Dinger in. Torts is like, what? He's like, put Dish. Dish. Guys call me Dinger, Dish. He's like, put Dish in there. Torts is like, F off kind of thing. And then like as it goes along, and then finally Torts hammers, I'm telling you, put Dish in. He's good, Torts is like, fine. If so-and-so doesn't score, he can go next. So I got to go. So then so-and-so didn't score. And so I got to go. And what you don't know is that I'd loosened my skates because my feet were numb because I knew I wasn't playing in overtime. And I took all the tape off my shin pads and I undid my shoulder pads just because I knew I was going to sit on the bench. Like I knew I wasn't going to play. So I got to go take a shootout. And like I could barely skate because my skates are so loose because my feet were numb because I had lace night. But I end up scoring. So I go and I rip one, I get a low block, I go to turn, and the corner where the Lexus Lounge is, or the VIP now? So I go to turn, and I blow a tire, and I fall into the boards, and I get up, and it was against Buffalo. And I'm skating by their banks, and I'm like, what are you doing out there? Jesus, guys, stand up. I'm like, I got to loosen my skates. All my shit was undone because I knew I was going to play. So guys I knew on Buffalo, like Jay McKee and a couple other guys would chirp me. So, it was funny, whatever. But anyways, like at first it was fun. And then when guys realized like you could make the playoffs or not make the playoffs, that first, those first couple of years, especially that first year, like guys didn't want to go anymore because there's so much video now that, as a shooter, there's only so many moves you could shoot, or but a guy's a tendency, go forehand, backhand, whatever. But, you see like Cooch and stuff like that. That one goal he scored where he basically let the puck go. He went wide and then cut in and let the puck go. And unbelievable goal. But, after a while.
Holtby twice.
Yeah, twice the Holtby.
Yeah, he's like, so Holtby's a human highlight reel in the wrong way. And the guy's had a great career. But so I think it was fun at first. I think you want to do 4-on-4 for 5 minutes and then maybe 3-on-3. Because if you look at 3-on-3, it was great. It was frenetic. It was fast-paced. It was offense. And now teams just bring the puck back and they circle back. And then, see, the thing is the coaches are so good in the NHL. The players are so good. Is that they're going to adjust. So you look at over the years, every change they made, like getting rid of the red line, the trapezoid, whatever, teams adjust and they make adjustments. So, I definitely like to see games decided in overtime rather than a shootout for sure. But I mean, you look at, what was it, the Pittsburgh game?
Yeah.
And like, you got the old goalie, it was the Louis Dominique comes in cold.
Yeah.
Right? Probably had a couple hot dogs or whatever because he hadn't played for 3 hours or 4. How many hours? But had he been sitting there?
He said during the intermission break he went and ate some food. He had like pork or something, spicy pork or something.
He said it wasn't very good.
Yeah,
but he needs to eat that again for tonight's game or whenever they play next.
Yeah, so there's but that's like regular overtime. It's 5-on-5, whatever. And there's a guy that is a good team guy and a backup goaltender, and he gets a chance. And so, I think getting stuff decided in overtime over, I guess, an individual skills competition, as I guess people would call it. But I'm definitely in favor of more overtime, less shootouts.
Yeah, it's exciting. All right, I don't want to hog all the questions, but we don't want to take you up much longer. I know, Schoolie, Stash, you guys must have a question. One more?
Go ahead, Schoolie. You got something?
So is there any series that you're watching that this year I think is the most complete matchups there is? They say there's an underdog and they say there is a favorite in every series, but I think this year, compared to most, there's a lot of great matchups. You got the Florida Washington Capitals, you got the Rangers, Pittsburgh, even the Colorado one, which when Saros went out with Nashville, you thought was going to be a sweep. And
it's coming back though.
Yeah, and then here an ex-Lightning goaltender is now in net, basically their third string netminder, and they're making a series out of it.
So your question is, which ones am I watching the most, or which ones am I most intrigued by?
Yeah, do you think they're very comparable this season than most? 1-8 when they're playing with each other, they still seem like it can be 1-2 playing each other.
Yeah, so I think the parity's great in the league. It just shows you that there's really good teams and really good players. So you look at when a backup goalie goes in and then a third string goalie goes in and you're still competitive, that shows you how good players are. That like a Connor Ingram. So like you said, Saros goes down and like nobody gives Nashville a chance, but Nashville's been a good team for like 10, 15 years, and they make the playoffs, and they've lost Weber and like going down the line, all the guys they've lost over the years. But that shows you how good teams are, and I think you're right. Like the parity in the league is so good that it's a matter of like inches. It's so cheesy, but the game's a matter of inches, a bounce here, a bounce there, whatever. So I don't think Nashville has a chance, to be honest with you, against Colorado. I think they're too good, but they're making they're hanging in there. They're doing their best, so I'll give them credit for that. What Edmonton's done, I think, after that first game, I think Edmonton's a team like Tampa was, like, let's say, 5 years ago, where you have great young players, Stamkos and Kucherov and, Point going down the line where, Edmonton's got obviously McDavid and Draisaitl and, you got Nurse on defense and stuff, but you got like two of the best players in the league, and they keep having failure in the playoffs. And I think you're starting to see, what teams like Tampa, where the skilled players, they want to win. Like, it's great to score in the regular season. Look at a guy like Stammer who wants to win, right? He's a great leader and a great team guy. He scored 50 goals. He scored 60 goals. He wants to win. And I think you're seeing that in Edmonton now where, you got skilled guys that, like, you don't want to hear that you shit the bed in the first round. Like, you don't want to hear that. Like, it's great. You had 100 and whatever points. You scored 50 goals. But after a while, like you saw with Ovechkin, you saw with, other guys where, Ovi scored 50 every year, but he wanted to win. So I think you're seeing it in Edmonton. I think that surprised me how bad they took it to LA in the last few. So I think the series are all good. I think they're, a lot of them are like a pick 'em. It's anyone could win, like the Rangers, Pittsburgh, like that's a tough one, like a lot of them. So even, what Washington's done, like Florida's, like they had an unbelievable season and they just got pumped today by Washington. So, it goes to show you need you can have a great regular season and you can be the top left winger in points or whatever, but the playoffs are a different animal. Until you played in the playoffs and gone through it, I think it's a whole different animal. So it'll be interesting to see. There's definitely going to be some upsets for sure.
Yeah, I actually had Panthers fans laughing at me when I said they needed to watch out for Washington in the playoffs. I mean, the East had every single team scored 100 points this year. That's crazy. We had all Eastern teams over 100 points to make the playoffs. That just goes to show that top half is just really, really awesome.
Yeah, you don't want to play. You don't want to play against a veteran team that has won before, and if you're a team that hasn't been in the playoffs a lot, especially not in the first round, so it goes to show you.
All right, you got one more question. We've overextended Dinger here. I know he's got some hockey to watch.
Yeah,
it's all right.
I was just wondering, how you're, what are you working? You're working for your wife's company now. Your wife's family's company, right? So what you're doing, what do you what's your normal day looking like aside from now that your kids aren't traveling for hockey right now?
Well, normal day for me during the week is I get up at 5-ish. Make breakfast for kind of everyone, but my younger boy likes a waffle. My older boy likes hash brown, so I'll get up, make that, have some cereal and a coffee. I'll come downstairs. I got exercise equipment in the basement. And I'll come down, work out, and then usually take one to the rink. And my wife will take the other one, and I'll take one of them and the baby. We got the 2.5-year-old girl now, so take one of them. And then, and on top of working for Stout Gloves, which is my brother-in-law's company, started, I coach so that my boys are in a program called Northern Alberta Extreme. And it's a hockey program, it's an academy, whatever. So they practice, they work out, and then they all go to the same school, which is great. And so you're dropping them off at one place, or you're picking them up at one place, which is fantastic. So my boys do that, and then I coach. I was assistant coach for the U18 girls team, so I would go drop one of them off, and then I practice, and then start my day. So our practice would be 7:30 in the morning. So that was a typical day for me, and then go sell stuff, drive around, deliver orders, and race around until you got to pick them up, and then bring them home, and then start dinner and start the 2 loads of laundry because you got my stuff and my boys' hockey stuff. So that's a typical day, to be honest with you. And then eat dinner and try and bathe their 2.5-year-old, and then get her in her jammies, and then just lay down and want to just die. Just want to lay. I want to sit down or lay down by 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. So that's a typical day for me. Every once in a while I go and have fun, but not as much as I used to. I'm getting too old. I'm too tired, and kids are tiring, especially 3 of them.
Chris Dingman, he's just like us. Has a lot of shit to do.
Living the job life.
Oh yeah, laundry, cooking, cleaning. Yeah, it's all part of it.
We appreciate it, man. We know you're busy, and when I say that you're talking to 3 of your biggest fans here in Tampa, we are not bullshitting you at all. We'll post I think you saw it on Twitter, but we'll post the picture again with me and the stash from, I don't even know when that was. That's when you were doing Bally's or Fox, whatever the hell it was called back then. And what was that? We got we bought tickets that came with a chance to meet Chris. We're let's
I think
go.
it was both you and Andy. You and Dave were there both, and everyone was "Oh, Andy," and me and Shooter were like, "Dude, it's freaking Dinger, man!" So we went and had to take a picture with you. It's the hospitality thing or something like that. It was in the Chase Club. Yeah, that was definitely still a highlight for both of us. So having you on the show is a full circle moment kind of for us. So we can't say how much we appreciate you coming on today.
So we're getting ready to come up on the 20-year anniversary of your 2004 Cup. We know that Mr. Vinnick likes to celebrate the history of this team. Has there been any talk about a 20-year get-together anniversary, come down here, reunion of the team?
Not that I've heard so far.
We're going to start that today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can start the rumor. Yeah, let me know if we got to play a game. I'll step my workouts. I've actually been riding my exercise bike the whole time, so if I'm a little out of breath, I'm trying to I don't know if I'll show you see the video. There's
Nice.
Trying to multitask a little bit here, but
I thought
he was on a treadmill. Actually, I thought I saw him walking. I thought he was on a treadmill.
Oh no, I'm not
it's too hard on the knees.
Treadmill walker. Yeah, no, if I'm on the treadmill, I'm running. I'm not a walker because I can walk outside. But yeah, if they did 20-year anniversary, I'd be all for that. But I would need to know right now, just so I can make sure if we're gonna play an alumni game or something. I just don't want to embarrass myself, so I got to step my workouts out. But was actually during, COVID was obviously difficult on everybody and, a lot of stuff. But one of the good things was we actually, our entire team, with the exception of 2 guys, our cup team from 04, we set up a Zoom call and everyone was on it. And it was awesome. So Andre Waugh and Tim Taylor and Andrew Chuck, everybody. And then it was awesome. And then European guys hopped on. So we started at 6 or 7. And then I think by 2 o'clock, Habby Boolin and Seaback and some of the guys that are over in Europe, they hopped on the call. And it was it was kind of like our own little reunion. It was funny. So Nigel Kerwin, the longtime video coach, he was on.
Still here.
And I know. Yeah, Nigel is awesome. But so he was showing the video of it was a goal, it wasn't a goal. So he had the video. He's like, it wasn't a goal. So he had a really good video of it. So anyways, a reunion would be great. It'd be tons of fun. It was a great group of guys. You guys have a great group of guys there now. And I mean, they're doing, 2 in a row, going for 3 in a row. I think that's tremendous what those guys have done. So I'm all for reunions.
Hey,
anytime.
I bet it's going to happen, right? We got a year or 2.
We had Vinny and Feds in the building last night. We had Hobby here a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, it's time to get Dinger here.
Yeah, Feds was hitting the old Tesla coil last night. So that guy cracks me up how young he still looks. I see my face and I still look like 30. That guy looks like he could get drafted tomorrow and he would fit right in.
Well, have you ever seen there's a mini series called Chernobyl, and it was on I don't know, Netflix or one of those things, and it was about the nuclear meltdown.
Yeah.
And Fedotenko grew up just outside there. So I'd ask him, man, you were Chernobyl, where are you by there? He's like, yeah, and I was like, was it that messed up? Was it that F up? And he's like, well, there was dogs that were like mini horses. And he's like, there were tomatoes that were this big around. He's like, it's totally messed up there. So I don't know if that's part of it, but you're right. It still looks like he's 18,
so that's why he still looks young. Yep.
I don't know if that's why, but yeah, he was, he's got the same rosy cheek, can't really grow facial hair. So good. I think we're just all jealous of him because he looks so young still. So I got the gray hair.
Oh yeah, we're right there with you.
You're looking good, Dinger. Though you're looking good. And again, man, thank you so much for jumping on. You're the first player we've had on. We've only been doing this a couple of years, but we're a fan podcast, so it's awesome to have you on. You and that 04 team will never get enough credit for the pub crawl today is paint downtown blue. And if I turn the camera over that way, you're going to see a bunch of blue. And it was really that team in 2004. Us guys were sleeping on the plaza to get cheap tickets because we were so poor back then when we were younger to get into those playoff games. But we appreciate it. When you come to Tampa, we're going to track you down because you shouldn't pay for any beers here when you come to Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
so
right.
Sounds
let
good.
us know when you're here.
Sounds good. I love free beer.
Yeah, man.
All right, dude. Thanks again for bearing with us, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. Thanks so much.
All right, take care.
All right, sour, guys.
How awesome.
That was awesome.
I think I had a Woody the whole time.
Hey,
I know. That's why you can see I kept moving further and further away from you.
Clint Kelly, Blake's watching, Lynn's watching. We don't have our big post game show crowd, but hopefully a lot of people will watch the replay.
Because they're all here.
I know we've got a bunch of people here next to us at the table. This creeper behind us that you can see over here. But yeah, that was awesome. Let's jump into our predictions and then let's get out of here and go have some fun. So if anyone is out there and you're in Tampa, come on downtown. Actually, the weather's beautiful. I don't know if the storms are supposed to be rolling in later or what. I heard there's supposed to be rain, but it's beautiful right now. And the crowd here is starting to paint the town blue. So if you can get down here. We're going to give away some playoff tickets to some folks that come down here. And what else we got? We got the Vassy giveaway, Vassy bobblehead. So get down here.
Electronic speaker.
Yeah, get down here now if you can, because we're going to give all that stuff away here shortly. And you know what? We'll do one here for the people that are just watching too, right?
Of course. That's what we do.
So we did some predictions at the beginning of the season, before the season even started.
I love when you do this.
How do you guys think you did on those predictions?
What prediction? What was I predicting?
I remember we predicted who we thought would have the biggest impact of the season.
Oh, yeah.
I picked Bellamere.
Yeah, and I knew you were wrong. And I think I said Stamkos.
So, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to pull that up, but let me put this up here right now so you guys can win. We'll do the smack shirt. We'll do the smack shirt for you guys. Hashtag, why not, Dinger. Hashtag
Dinger. The Tower of Power, man. It's funny. I hit him with that right out of the game, and he got a good chuckle out of it. I bet it's been a long time since you heard that.
I can't type with one hand.
It's funny because I sit here watching him. I was like, oh, he's doing pretty good with one hand. But then he gave up.
All right, so we'll put that up there so you guys can get in there. There's not many of you guys today. Saturday afternoon. I don't blame people for watching us.
Events on Saturday afternoon when the weather's beautiful. I don't know.
The people that are going to watch this on replay are going to be upset. Even the ones that are sitting here with us, they have no idea what we said with Dinger. And when they're going to go back and listen to that, and that is a golden interview right there. I thought Dinger was just 100% genuine, and it was something that we all have always dreamed about.
That was awesome.
Good job to Shooter for hooking that up.
I have been bothering him for months.
He finally gave in.
I like posted the picture of me and him and tagged him, and eventually he followed me. So then I could chat with him. I was like, hey, dude, here's when we do the show. You should come on. So I'm glad we finally got it together and got him on. All right, so let's go through some of these predictions. I've got them pulled up here somewhere. All right, so here we go. And this one was subjective still. Who is the Bolts' biggest in-division rival this season? Remember, this is before the season started. We're predicting who the Bolts' biggest kind of rival in their division is going to be. I said the Toronto Maple Leafs. Here we are in a battle in the playoffs with them. You guys said the Panthers, who are the division winners and the league winners, President's Trophy winners. So that one's a tough one to say, like, who's right or who's wrong on, right?
Because if we both make it to the next round, we will be playing each other.
Right.
So that's kind of a scratch. So we were all on par there. Second one here was, what place will the Lightning finish in the Atlantic Division? They ended up finishing in third, which seems to be their spot the last couple of years. We all said second. So we were close. A little bit worse than we expected.
Yeah.
And then how many points will the Bolts reach this season? We ended up with 110. Yours truly said 110. I know. If you need any help with your bets, prop bets, anything like that, lottery numbers, hit me up.
The Kentucky Derby is tonight, which we're still with.
You guys were close, 108, 107, but right on the head. That's why they call me Shooter. All right, the next one was, how many wins will Vasi get this season? So he already was the record holder for the Lightning. This season he did get 39. I said 40. Sash said 36. Schooley went with 45. Wanted to break that record.
I didn't have faith in Elliott at the time.
So no one nailed it, but we got pretty close. Next one, we can't really tell you yet because this is award season. We're not quite giving out awards yet, but what Bolt will win an award this season and what award? So number one was Sorelli. Well, that was what I said, winning the Selkie. I think he might be nominated. We got to wait a couple more weeks to find out.
Actually, I think he said they're going to come out on Monday.
Okay, so we'll find out soon. Thomas, you said JBB with GM of the Year. Might happen. I doubt it. And then Petty for the Norris, he will be a finalist, but he will not win. Guarantee
he
you.
won't win.
I don't even know if he'll be a finalist.
I think he'll be a finalist.
I think he'll be in the top three. I do think so, especially with the way he finished the season.
So we'll circle back with that one after the season ends. And then we also got, who leads the Bolts in goals this season? It was Stamkos, the Stash. What did you say?
I said Stamkos.
Ding, 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 ding. So you nailed it, man. Schooley and myself, we went with Point. He did have the injuries, but he was not on that pace that Stamkos was on this season. Stamkos had that hell of a season. So kudos for you, Stash. You called it. Who leads the Bolts in scoring? We all said Kucherov. We know what happened early in the season. Kuch got hurt, so it was not going to happen as soon as that happened.
Technically, he did lead the team in points per game, though. So we could still say he did lead the team in scoring and points per game. So
average, yeah. It was Stamkos, by the way, 106.
106.
Record-breaking year for him, obviously. Which new Bolt emerges as a key player? This one's also subjective, right?
That's not right.
What's not right?
They played with us last year. You have Colton as the
Oh, yeah. You're right. Well, I had a question mark there because I didn't really know. So I said Perry. Stash said Perry. You said Belmar. I don't know.
I think it was Perry, 19 goals.
Perry.
I would say Perry.
Yeah. We'll go with that. Other than the Lightning, which Eastern Conference team is most dominant? I said the New York Islanders. Wah, wah, wah. Stash with the Toronto, Thomas Cooley, Panthers, and they won the Eastern Conference in the league this year during the regular season. Playoffs, not looking so hot so far, Panthers.
We all know how that goes. We all know how that goes.
And then finally, the layup here. Does John Cooper get fired?
No.
No. That's not happening. Well, yeah, hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So let's. I had some other questions for you guys, but I don't know what happened to them. I thought I had them on the paper here.
Man.
Oh, okay. I do have them. What is one move that JBB should have made during the season? GM of the year candidate, Scully. What's one thing he should have done that maybe he didn't? Or did he do it all right?
No, I think we lost out on the chance of getting some for Palat.
You read my answer.
No, I did. I really did.
All right, that's what I said too.
Yeah,
Palat he fizzled out the second half of the season. He scored last night, thank God.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's going to heat up here.
I think we had a great opportunity at the trade deadline. Well, we don't know what was offered, if anything was offered. But I think trying to get something for him at the trade deadline was something that JBB missed out on. But he was also a genius getting in Paul and Hagen.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with the Palat thing is that you're losing his contract. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to cut the back somehow with points, salary going up next year, and everything else. So I mean, you could get something, but you're probably just going to get a rental for him anyways. So might as well keep the guy you know rather than the rental who might not have the charisma or the chemistry or whatever else in the team. So yeah, I would say if there's something he should have done, it would be. I don't know. I don't know what else he really could have done, to be honest with you. Not like he was just so great and fantastic. Just he didn't have a lot to work with. He still went and made really good moves at the deadline, and he's still showing that he's managing the team not just for this year but for the future as well, especially with the Hagel move. So what?
And I thought a great move that he did that was only talked about for a week was re-signing Elliott to that backup contract for next year. So we know who our 1-2 tandem is going to be next year.
Mm-hmm. All right, another one. Biggest surprise of the season?
Elliott.
Good answer.
I would say maybe in a bad way, I'm surprised that Sorelli didn't have more impact offensively. I'm surprised that Sorelli didn't take a bigger step forward with the role he had being on that line with Stamkos and Killer.
Yeah, he kind of stayed flat this season.
He really did.
Last.
Yeah. I said when the Bolts had Cooch and point out how well they stayed in the race with those two guys out. And also the negative side was in that March-April time frame when they did have those guys, how poor they were playing, which has sort of still carried over into the playoffs. All right, last one here. and then we're going to wrap it up. The best game that you remember from this season. What was the highlight
We
of
have to
the season?
agree, I think, on this.
There's really only one answer for
Yeah.
this, but we'll go for a second place one as well.
Well, obviously, Stamkos breaking the record.
Nashville.
Well, that's on my list too.
And then Nashville, obviously. But like those are my two. Although that last home game against Anaheim, that was a lot of fun. Like, that was a good fun game. So that's when me and the wife went to that game. That was fun. Or no, the Nashville game. Sorry, not the Anaheim. The last game against Nashville. So both of those games were pretty fun for me this year.
To me, the Stadium Series, because of the fact that that was the first, and Stamkos, is a very, very good player in my eyes. I do believe his record will get beat one day from somebody in the team. But, for me, just being there in Nashville, the amount of fans that were there, the way that Bold Nation represented there. I mean, if you would ask me 4 seasons ago, it would have been the Mega Strip. I mean, just the way the fans turn out on away games and something like that. It was just amazing to see and be a part of.
Right. Yeah. And you guys nailed it. Nashville was number one for me. Stamkos breaking the all-time scoring record. Easy ones. But there was a lot of highlights in the season. A lot of lowlights as well. And it's not over yet.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy that last week of the season was like every single game was a new milestone for somebody. And I can't remember who said it in the interview. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but then you also know some of these guys are starting to get really old when they start hitting these, 400 game points and 600 points and all that. So.
All right. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about the other series, or we've been going for an hour here? We got a big crowd here, so let's go have some fun.
I just realized I've been standing this whole time while you
I know
guys
we've
are
been
sitting
sitting
there.
there.
I
No, I know
like
why.
my feet are
I know why.
killing me.
There's plenty of chairs, but
All
if
over.
you feel free to grab one. But hey, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up with a winner. We only got a couple of you guys in. That's okay. One of you guys is gonna win a Smack Apparel shirt. Let's go ahead and share the screen here. Hashtag Dinger. You got 5 seconds to get in. And let's draw it. It's going to Blake. There you go, Blake. Hit us up so we don't forget because we are about to go to a bar crawl or we're at a bar crawl. So, shoot us a message. Hope you guys liked us having Dinger on. Hopefully he'll come back. If you do follow him on Twitter, tell him that you enjoyed having him on or seeing him on the show. And heck, maybe we'll get him back on. But until next time, I got to cue up my sound effects here. That's the problem with these shows over here. I gotta reach over you guys to get to my sound effects, and this is a crucial part of the end of the show. Until next time, this has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder.
That's it.